Hello and welcome to By the By. Mr. and Mrs. Adam would like to advise this show is not suitable for persons under the age of 16. It contains sexual references such as extramarital activities, group sex, oral sex, anal sex, puppy piles, and pegging. Minors should be escorted out of the room, and if you are easily offended, go watch Channel 9. For the rest of us, sit back, loosen your pants, and dive into By the By.
That is my favorite thing, maybe ever.
Thank you, Blue Steel.
So I was in the shower, I was cleaning my ass and making all sure all sparkly, spanky clean.
I'm not the funny one, I'm the pretty one.
Cock shots. I just checked myself out.
Candles, music, wine, and then lube up and get on top.
The glory hole's like a dick theater. I've imagined your mouth.
Which means your pants had better come off. Mama needs playtime.
We're not sluts.
We just love love.
Hello, this is Mrs. Adam.
And this is Mr. Adam.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of By the By.
This is a very special episode. This is episode 50.
Yay!
And we have guests.
Yeah.
Return guests. Like
Yeah.
sequel return guests.
Are you going to tell who they are?
I figured people already knew by now. We have the illustrious lady.
Hello.
And Ginger Tramp, which I still think Super Tramp.
That's me. Hi.
The Super Ginger Tramp.
The Super Ginger Tramp.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a little over a year since the last time you were on here, and now we have better equipment.
Yay.
And we know what we're doing, so we're going to be able to record this the first time.
This looks flash and semi-professional now.
Yeah, I got a semi.
Yeah, and it probably helps that we aren't half trash sitting in a castle either.
I think we were more than half trashed.
We were full trashed, and I do wish I was in a castle still.
Yeah.
You're in my castle.
Aww.
And we're on the way to getting trashed.
We are drinking champagne at
11:30 in the morning.
yeah, and you and I started with rum at 10:30.
10:30 and had last beers at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Yes.
Winning
Winning
at
at life.
This podcast proudly sponsors the Liver Foundation.
And it's sponsored by many, many beers. All right. Yeah. So why did we invite these two back?
Well, I thought we were going to do a revisit of the
Oh yes.
jealousy.
Dun dun dun. The green-eyed monster part 2.
Hey, that's not what you're supposed to call me.
Right. Creepy, but okay. Yeah. So the last time we talked to you guys had really just sort of started out in this whole air quotes adventure, and you're still doing it, so that's a good sign, right? I mean, on both occasions, like you're both doing it with each other and with each other, other people. Anyway,
You're still checking out the open relationship status, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Okay, we don't have to fill a full hour, but how have things changed in the last year?
Well, should we go back and review where they were a year ago?
Do you remember exactly where they were? Because I sort of listened to our previous podcast
Yeah.
in preparation for this one.
So you guys were embarking down the road of open relationships. You were seeing other people separately. And that was how you wanted to keep it, was to always see people separately. And there were some jealousy issues that you guys had were working through. So I guess the first question I would ask is, are you still in the same kind of open relationship you were, where you only see people separately? Serious relationships, casual relationships, what is it where are you now?
You can do the talking.
Okay. So we're seeing other people. We're seeing other people together. Ooh. In the same room at the same time and everything.
That's a big jump.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of fun jump too.
Yeah, because I remember specifically, I don't remember. I think both of you all said it on the last podcast and I wrote this note down, and I quote, not wanting to play in the same room. How quickly things change. What made that change?
It was hot.
So it was one of those situations where your imagined version wasn't
As scary.
wasn't as scary as the real, actual, factual happening. Is that right?
Yeah. I think it started with a kiss, a really hot kiss that was really, really, really nice to watch. And it kind of exploded from there.
Who kissed who?
The ginger tramp kissed another lady in front of me, and oh god, it was really nice. She was really pretty. And then I thought, I want to do that too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, hang on. Sorry. Yeah.
No,
You looked confused for a second, and then you got that's like the light bulb actually.
Well,
started
there's
off.
just that many that I've been kissing, and I really struggle to keep it. There's only been 2. And because of the drinking issues. No, I think going back to the question, or to where this sort of little line of questioning started, when we did the podcast back in February last year, the idea of us being in the same room with each other, with other people, did seem quite scary, and we felt that it would probably provoke more issues than it would have provided pleasure or interest or intimacy that would come out of it. I mean, from February through to let's say for the 6 months after that, we found out that there was a lot more in the way of jealousy issues between both of us and within both of us that we hadn't really dealt with. We thought we were doing okay, but we really weren't. And if I go back to this, but the time sounded like a really great analogy of, we'd gone from playing B grade to playing, first division sport, and we thought we were doing really well. Turns out that the first couple of tough games and the first couple of tough issues that we had, it all started to unravel. So we had to pick apart our entire relationship and almost start again in a way. But what it meant was that when it got to the point where we looked at playing in the same space with someone else, all those preconceived notions of what we thought would create jealousy for us and be an issue had sort of been, I don't know if it had been dealt with, but we were starting from probably a new space. It was almost like we had bulldozed the entire relationship and started again.
We burned it to the ground and rebuilt.
I think that's actually kind of cool. It's interesting both to...
Is that too honest and real?
No, it's great. No, it's great because it is interesting because you look at it and you're like, what you guys did was you completely raised your relationship and started from scratch. And I think that's it's there are many couples out there who would get to a point like that and say, fuck it, let's just pull the plug.
We can't do this
We can't
anymore.
do this anymore with each other.
Yeah.
And then there's other couples that would just sort of say, well, it's status quo. This is how life is supposed to be, and this is how life is. And rather than do that, you guys, it may have been painful and bloody and hurtful to do it, but you went through it and you managed to,
You saw a way to rebuild what you had and to go back to that point where you have this wonderful relationship in a different realm and it takes a different shape, but you can still have that wonderful relationship and continue on the open path that you want to continue down.
Yeah, I actually think it's quite admirable.
Yeah.
Not,
It's bloody hard work, I won't lie.
No, yeah, nothing worthwhile is easy,
No.
except for me.
True. Very true.
All y'all, fuck you all. Just gonna sit over here and drink my champagne.
There's a poll up on SurveyMonkey. Is Mr. Adam easy and worth it or not?
Wah, wah.
So when you decided to, or maybe was it a conscious decision, I guess, first of all, or not, to then when you saw Ginger Tramp kiss someone else, and you wanted to see more of that, how did that then translate into playing in the same room? Was it an immediate thing? Was it a little by little kind of thing?
Well, I think both of us are the kind of people that won't just randomly meet people and hook up. Mm-hmm. So we'd been chatting to this couple via Kik for a little while, and they'd come over and we'd had dinner and spent some time together, and then we went to Sydney for a little holiday, and we're staying in the same place as them, and we went out for dinner, and there was lots of touching, and
That was for my birthday.
Oh, it was too.
Best birthday weekend ever.
That's right. That was the weekend we all went to our secret spot as well, right?
That's
Yeah.
right.
There were 6 of us up there.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was the weekend that you finally got to settle the sexual tension between Ginger Tramp and
Yeah.
Mrs. Adam.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that was a big weekend then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was huge. It was monumental.
There was 2 ladies that weekend.
3.
You count as a lady.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, hence your name.
You are the lady.
Doesn't mean I act like one.
2 ladies and the lady.
2 ladies in
yeah.
1 cup.
Oh, never. No. I'm sorry. There is a line.
Jesus.
I still say that it was ice cream. I don't want to hear anything else than that.
Anyway,
But yes, getting back on the topic.
I like that he's trying to rein us in.
That's not
usually
even
your-
my podcast.
That's usually your job.
I know. I'm
So-
happy to give it over.
So what happened? So you saw me. We were staying in the same hotel with this with
Other
the
couple.
other couple.
Yeah.
And we went out and had dinner. Mm-hmm. And there was lots of touching.
Yeah, and hand holding and cuddles and little neck touches and things like that.
Yeah.
And then we went back to our room, and I failed miserably to pick up on all signals because I do not know how to accept flirtation or give flirtation. And they went back upstairs, and I texted them madly. I'm like, I think I missed
No.
something here.
Yeah, you did, because I've said to you after they've left the room, I said, what happened? It was, everyone was ready to go, and you were sitting there on the bed, and what the hell was going, do you not want to do things? Just like, yeah, I did. I didn't want to do. So get on the phone to them now. see what they were thinking.
That's awesome. Wait, did you text, please come back?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
You text, I've made a huge mistake.
And they've texted back. We thought, lady, you weren't actually wanting to do anything, given that you weren't responding to any flirts or anything.
I didn't know anyone was flirting with me.
Oh, God, love you.
So they came back, and then sort of 2 hours later, they left the room, and it was our first. Yes, it was our first experience playing in the same space with another couple, which was really quite cool.
Yeah.
Was that awkward at all at first, or was it just immediately okay?
I think I was the first one to get naked in the room.
So yeah, you've gone from being the person who couldn't work out what any of the
Flirting was.
flirtation was. It's just this binary thing. It's a switch on off.
I'm
you
sort
know?
of imagining, you remember how Ace Ventura got naked in the first movie where he just throws his
Whoosh.
arms back and the clothes just fly off? That's
Pretty
what I'm
much.
imagining.
It was
Yeah.
kind of like that,
Yeah.
and I just looked over at the bed at one stage because I was engaged on the couch seat thing on the other side of the hotel room, and it's like, wow, that's all progressed really quickly.
I need someone to tell me when people are flirting with me because I have no idea. Although,
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 your beautiful presentation.
oh yes, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so I have a bit of a presentation on flirting, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. See if we can help the lady out with that a little bit.
This is what flirting looks like.
Honestly, I needed to know.
You're pretty. Yeah, the ginger tramp seems to be having a problem. Oh,
I
he's
was just
looking.
looking where the high watermark was in that bottle.
Yes. So then when you were playing in the room together, this was the first time that you've played in the same room together with another couple. Before
Yeah.
you'd always seen people separately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did that change the jealousy dynamic at all? Like, where did this fit in with redefining your relationship and building from ground up? Where was that all in the timeline of things?
Ooh, I don't remember.
I'll go with it because your recollections of history are pretty poor
Yeah.
sometimes. I think by the stage we'd got to Sydney for my birthday, we had effectively razed the relationship to the ground. It had started again. So it was
It was neutral
was-
territory as well.
Yeah, it was neutral territory,
Yeah.
but it was almost like a jump-off point for us into, okay, well, we've now managed to save this thing. We've burnt it to the ground. We've started to rebuild. That's all going okay, and we had mutually agreed during the process of burning it to the ground that we still wanted to do, if it was to continue, we still wanted to have an open relationship in whatever sense that might be. So that had been one of the things that we had agreed on during all of that period, and then it was almost like an end of a stage, the end of the beginning.
Or a beginning of a new stage.
Yeah, and then the beginning of a new stage. So it was really quite fun. So, and then we sort of had a repeat performance the next night.
Yeah,
So-
with 4 people and people watching, which
Yeah.
was a new experience for me, that's for sure.
So, yeah, because that was the night that the 6 of us went to our secret spot. Mm-hmm. And was that your first time to a swingers club?
No, it wasn't.
Oh,
Okay.
first time
But
I
it was your
was.
first time at our secret spot.
First time at our secret spot,
Okay.
and first time somewhere with
With me.
the lady.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was fun because I remember we were all up on the big bed.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
I love
was
that
a lot of
room.
fun.
I've
I
had so
know.
much fun in that room. Anyway, I was going to ask a question and my brain just went completely dead.
I don't know.
Well, while you think of that,
Thanks.
I had been to a club on my own.
With another partner or as a single male?
No, got an invite as a single male.
Okay.
How did that go?
Well, I got the invite because I'm a beautiful human being, and they saw me and they just said, "You have to come along."
So they saw you at like the
They were
Woolies.
I was headhunted.
They saw you at Woolies and were like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
yeah.
what are you doing Saturday?"
Yeah, what are you doing? I think they were just wandering around saying, "You in for swinging, in for swinging, in for swinging."
And it was you and those 2 homeless guys.
Yeah, yeah.
I was
but
just thinking that it was trying to end up the dynamic with a different race, being he's a ginger.
But getting to an actual point, I did go on my own as a single male, and the experience going as a single male compared to going as a couple was far different. It was far better going as a couple. I'm sure you can have a lot of fun going as a single guy, but it did just seem
You were there to provide a service.
really, yeah.
You're a piece of meat.
Yeah, I
love it.
felt like I was on the street in Amsterdam in a window, just the red light on, waiting for someone to go, yeah, all right, come on, you come in. You've got something to do right now, which is cool, but it's not as enjoyable as it would be with a partner there with
It's
you.
really interesting that you say that because we've recently been to a club where they were letting single guys in. And she and I both commented saying that the single guys just sat there and waited for couples to approach them.
Yep.
And both of us were like, we're not going to approach any single guys. But if they came up to us, we would definitely talk to them and then entertain the idea. So how was it where you went? Was it more, because the way you're describing it, it feels like all the single guys were waiting for couples to come up to them.
Who had the
Well-
push-pull?
There was a degree, though, of you were a single guy, so you were a little bit on the outer. It was
Okay.
almost unless you were there providing a service, which is a really poor euphemism, that you were just not really welcome there. It may have been just the nature of that environment, but it was very cliquey. There was couples there who knew each other, and you'd go to sit down and try and start a conversation, and it was just, oh yeah, hi, you here on your own? Yes. How are you guys? I'm the ginger tramp, and it was just it just did not feel like as welcoming an environment.
Oh, that's interesting.
I wonder if that is just how it is, though, because I see that a lot on profiles for couples. Single males do not
Yeah.
message us, we'll message you if we're interested. So is that just an extension of that whole, I don't know what to call it,
The dynamic
idea,
there.
dynamic that we see regularly?
You make a good point, and I would have to say definitely maybe, because you do see that. And in fact, even on ours, we say single males don't contact us unless you're bi. But yeah, that's an interesting point. Maybe that is. It's just sort of the way that the lifestyle has sort of pushed itself to where the guys are on a street behind a glass wall with a red light. And
It could be because there is that whether it's perception or reality, that every guy, single guy there is, I'm just looking for a threesome. I'm just looking to be part of this thing, and there's a significant chance that single male is going to not want to provide anything to the relationship or to the greater excitement of it all. So it's just like, can you all just go and stand in the corner? So the ones who
We'll tap you if we need
do
you.
genuinely or could genuinely bring something to the table are automatically excluded because they are single men.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I accept that. Yeah. So, are you guys both? This is more for the listeners, the people inside the microphone, than for us. But are you still seeing people
inside the
I know
microphone?
they're wee tiny. Are you guys still seeing people separately as well? Correct.
Yes.
I'm currently not seeing anyone. So
There you go, ladies.
Yeah, hi ladies. I'll provide my contact details at the end of the show. But
Oh dear God.
If you get any contact through this show, we want some sort of tip, but just the tip.
That would be
contact
amazing,
or quality contact?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Had sex. No, not seeing anyone on my own currently.
By choice or by bad luck?
Fuck off.
And that answers the question.
But you are still dating and going out and meeting people.
yeah,
so.
So, how are you meeting people? Are you, because as I recall from our last podcast,
Woolies.
you are the Tinder master. Woolies.
Oh God! I nearly sprayed booze up my nose.
I'm sorry, I can just see you in the fresh fruit section.
Yeah, that's what I was just
So,
thinking.
I noticed you're buying a lot of cucumbers. Making pickles.
I'm going to avoid the temptation to go down a path of a whole heap of fruit and veggie related puns and bad come-ons.
That's what our listeners
That's what the
expect.
listeners want?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was hoping for more.
Can you help me see if these melons are ripe? Can I check yours?
Let's go to the butcher and look at some meat curtains.
Oh,
Then there's all the
Are we,
grapes.
near, are we near the seafood section, or is that just me? No, okay, Tinder Master. Actually, no, something strange has happened in the last, how many months? 5 months? I turned 36 at my last birthday, and all of a sudden, it's like there's this massive drop-off.
Yeah.
I'm now 36 and no one wants to touch me.
Yeah,
Aw.
I'm in that same boat, buddy.
35 is a magical number. 35 and under.
I was that... How bad do we want the stories here?
No, let's go. Let's
want
Yeah, so
honest.
I went on
We
this
want
one
honest.
date. So there was
Oh,
this
here we
person
go.
I'd met on OkCupid, and we'd gone on a couple of dates. I thought it was actually a really good... it was really going well. Went on this one date. It had all just turned to sort of nothing very quickly. It had got very awkward. So what had planned to be a big night out, I was at home at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night watching whatever the movies I could find on Netflix were and drinking all the booze I could find in the
You
house.
were
'cause
watching
I was-
Notebook, weren't you?
Oh,
Crying.
almost.
Crying.
And running out of Tinder likes. I mean, that's not a really good sign for a Saturday night when you've had a date organised and you run out of Tinder likes. But I had debated that evening changing my age on Facebook for it to flow through to Tinder to say that I was 35 again, just in the vain hope I would get some people swiping right on me.
You're preaching to the choir there. I have the exact same fucking problem on Grindr. It's like if I don't show my age anymore, because I look younger than my age, but if I show my age, nobody talks to me. They're like, "Oh, you're almost 40. You're old." Fuck you.
If you're listening to this podcast and you're not swiping right on people age 35 and over, you're an ageist and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, and we don't want you anyway.
Yeah.
Your young nubile skin.
Yeah.
So tight.
We kind of do.
Yeah, we do.
I do want it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and your
lonely.
hair is so pretty.
And the skin around your breasts are always so tight and firm.
Yeah.
And your balls are always bally. Sorry. I'm
You
back.
got distracted.
Is it hot in here or is it just
Are
those
you getting the
youngins?
vapors?
I'm getting the vapors. Laws. So this date what happened? Had you hooked up with this girl?
No, hadn't hooked up. No,
But was it your age? Was it like you were? Because I'm now imagining you're dating some millennial and you're sitting at a table and you're talking about.
This person was 30, and
So only 6 years younger than you.
shut up.
No, but that's the point.
Oh, okay.
I'm on your
not a big
side.
number.
I retract my shut up, Your Honour. And I replace it with a thank you for understanding. No, they were 30, so they were okay, but they had just stepped into the world of open relationships and polyamory, and they'd been dating madly, absolutely and utterly dating madly. And every time I'd caught up with them, had been out on a date the night before that had gone late or whatever, so was always tired. And it just in the end, it just seemed like there was there was just no chemistry in the end, and I couldn't be bothered pushing shit up a hill any further. That's not a euphemism. I just couldn't be bothered. So it sort of was a bit.
In fairness, though, if she couldn't be bothered turning up in the frame of mind to actually have a good night with you, then that's her loss.
Yeah, I
as
agree.
well.
Yeah.
But back to your question, why am I the one keeping things on track? Why am I the one being good?
You're also the one rambling.
No. Cut all the rambling out.
We'll fix that in
We'll
post.
fix that in post.
Yeah.
Am I seeing anyone because of bad luck or just otherwise? No, I have been trying, but yes, there has been I've turned 36 thing, so therefore I'm, no good anymore, apparently. But I have...
I beg to differ.
I would agree with that. And I'm just from watching.
nice.
Yeah.
But yes, look, I'm still trying to find someone to see on my own on the regular, which would be nice.
Yeah.
So do you guys actively seek couples as well, or are couples more of just a if someone comes along kind of thing?
Well, we're on.
Do you have a preference on separate or together?
That's a good
Really?
question.
I think it's...
I like both, really. Like, the together stuff is really fun and it's enjoyable, and we end up speaking to people that we actually like. And I find there's less sifting to be done. Like, if you get on when you first message, then you keep messaging and you meet and everything like that. But where you're looking for single people or a single person separately, there can be you need to do a lot of work, whereas together it's a teamwork sort of thing.
I mean, it's
It's a very different dynamic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the wonderful thing about being in an open relationship is that you can go and hunt the differing kinds of experiences that fulfill different needs within
Absolutely.
your life and your life as a couple as well. In that we have our relationship, then you have your relationship with your other person, which is that's a nice one-on-one thing. But as you say, there's that sifting element all the time, that where it's going to be a one-on-one relationship there, you're engaging to a greater degree of intimacy and trust with that person, and you want to make sure that you haven't found someone who's really just
A bunny boiler.
or I'm into open relationships, but I
Or
really
CrossFit.
I just want to rope you out of the herd and really just get you all for myself.
It's those people, I know what you're talking about, those people who think that, oh, you're just polyamorous or you're just in an open relationship because you're not happy with what you have at home. I can provide you with what you don't.
Yeah,
What you're not
I'm going to
getting.
give
I
you
can
a
fix
white
you.
picket
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah, I can fix you. I can
yeah.
fix you. And I'm like, no, I'm not broken. Well, I am, but not in that way.
Yeah. But then you've got the relationships you can have, the encounters you can have with other couples, which there's already a sort of gate that they've passed through that you can go, all right, know that you're definitely both on board with having this kind of thing, that you're not saying that you're open to open relationships just because you really just want to try and attract as many people as you can for a one-on-one kind of encounter. That you go, okay, well, they're both on here. They've both got their photos on here. We're contacting both of them. We're chatting on Kik. So this is the real deal. There is always that thing of, will all four of you get along and all four of you want to play and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But again, it's the beauty of the open relationship.
But also there's a lot less pressure with couples, I find,
Yeah.
because you're fitting in with everybody's schedules, but you don't have to bear the brunt of the entire relationship by yourself as well. So
If the other
You're not the
couple's
one
having a
and
bad
only.
day, you sort of don't have to care.
Yeah.
Whereas if you are in another one-on-one
you.
relationship
That's
with
exactly what I
with
was
someone
thinking.
that when they're having a bad time of it,
You feel
do-
for them and you
feel
want to
for-
help them.
You feel
Yeah.
compelled to actually, be there to help them.
Because you're invested in them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
and I know what you mean because like I know there's times where she will keep up most of the conversation over kick because I'm either too busy with work or I'm in a mental headspace where I don't really want to do it.
I don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah, I don't want to
talk
talk to anybody. So she takes care of that. And then I know there's times that's the other way around. She's busy at work and I'm the one that's chatting, consistently. And you see that with
Yeah.
couples. And I know what you mean because if you've got a partner, a one-on-one partner, and I've had this as well, where he or she just keeps messaging, and you're like, look, I've got other shit I've got to do. You feel guilty for ignoring them, but and you're not meaning to ignore them, and they may get it, but they may not, and so
Yeah.
it's that you're walking a fine line. There's no one else to carry that load with you for you. So, do you have any couples like right now that you're talking to?
Yes.
Yeah, there is one couple of couples that we're talking to. There's one that we met up with late last year and just haven't had a chance to catch back up with again.
Late
Yeah.
last year? You mean like 6 months ago?
Yeah, December,
Yeah.
4
it was
months.
Christmas. time.
Okay.
4 months. Yeah. We haven't been because the lady has been travelling a lot for work, and
And
it's
so
hard
do
to
they. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to do a couple swinging thing when one of them isn't around. It's sort of a little bit awkward to go, yeah, hi, I'm the guy in the relationship, and
This is a cardboard cutout of the lady.
Yeah, she's here. She's on Skype. She's going to watch. Oh, that's a brilliant idea. Let's do that for when you're out of the country.
No, you get one of those iPads on the little Segway thing, so it's like and just put a fleshlight at the bottom for the lady, It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Just, harder. Hang on. Bad internet connection. Bad internet.
okay,
Buffering.
Ginger
Buffering.
Tramp, I am touching such and such's bottom in this particular way. Do it for me. What does it feel like?
I'm not comfortable with this.
But there is another couple we've also been chatting to recently, and we just seem to be getting on quite well on Kick, which is always a good sign when you can actually have a conversation on Kick and it doesn't seem too forced. So we've yet to meet them though. I mean, they could be freaks.
They might
the bad
think we're
kind.
freaks.
That's true.
Yeah.
But also, it's not like you have to communicate every day in that
Yeah.
situation
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
Again, that there's not that pressure.
Yeah.
And we find it always depends on what's happening. So like if we're, we have friends from Canberra, and if we know we're going to Canberra or they're coming up to Sydney, that escalates the conversation.
Right.
So you start chatting with them a lot. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm chatting. Well, like even with the four of us, it's like knowing that we were coming up to see you guys. Our Kick, if you look at the number of Kick messages sent in our
It's
group,
exploded.
it's just
Right.
like boom, 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 boom. It's like suddenly because it's that excitement, and then after
As
we
of
go
this
home,
afternoon, you're dead to us.
yeah. As soon as we get on the plane, we'll be like, Ginger who?
Ginger.
I kid. We'll never forget you. Aww. We'll never forget you. What's your name?
What's your name again?
Yeah. Yeah. So, going back to the conversation 20 minutes ago, look, see, now I'm directing.
Oh, this is awesome. We're taking
You're
turns.
welcome. Yeah. Reminds me of last night, but that's a different story. So, is there advice that you can give people who are where you guys were a year ago, and they're like, I'm having trouble communicating with my partner. We both clearly want a similar, if not the same thing, but we're having trouble communicating that to one another.
Sex positive therapist.
So you
Go
guys
and
went
see
to
one.
therapy together, or did you go separately together?
Separately and together. So separately so we could work out what the hell we both wanted, and then together to be able to facilitate communicating that without feeling pressured.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time you can know what you want, but you just don't know how to say it without hurting feelings. And sometimes you just need to put that to the side and just say it.
It's also very easy on the receiving end of that to be defensive and immediately put that wall
Exactly.
up and not really listen or accept what the other person is saying.
Yeah, and it was good to have somebody there to redirect because, as you can see, we both get off topic very easily.
Don't we all?
to redirect the conversation and get back to what we're trying to achieve in that particular session.
And I know what you mean, because we did the exact same thing, and it's what we have found, or what I have found for me, is it's very easy to, whenever somebody is suggesting something or saying something that they feel and believe, you instantly go on the defensive and it's an attack. You want this because there's some problem with me or something like that, and it's not that necessarily at all.
Also, don't compare yourselves to other people, because you're going to come up short in your own mind. Work on your relationship because it's yours. Don't start looking outside of it and trying to compare, because you don't know what is going on in someone else's open relationship. They could be fighting just as much, or they could be at a different level that you're at. You're not quite ready to do what they do, or you are already doing more than they are doing. Just be happy with where you are, work on the things that you want to work on, and work towards what you want to achieve.
That's
I
good
also
advice.
think identifying as a couple, discussing as a couple and identifying where you want your relationship to be. Where is it now? How can we take steps to get towards that? Because one thing that we've learned is that amongst all of our swinger friends in open relationships, every one of them looks different. No two are the same. No. And it's just whatever works for you and your partner, but you have to talk about that or find a way to communicate with them. What is it that I want? What is it that you want? Are they the same thing? And if not, how can we kind of meld it somewhere to where it is similar and will work?
Yeah, and drag in elements that you see elsewhere. If you like the idea of it, talk about it and see how you can bring it into your relationship. Granted, as well, by the same token, if you find things that you don't like about your relationship, talk about it and see how you can change it so it's better.
I think even small things, you look at other people as you see them out and about in other couples, and there are small things in the way they may do things that you're like, oh, that's a good idea, let's try that. Or I like the way they did this, will that work for us? Can we employ that? I know that you guys were telling me last night that you have the nonverbal cues, and theirs is very different to ours.
Wait, what is your nonverbal?
Because we do
I didn't hear that.
we do the tap.
Yeah, what is yours?
So a solid fist is an apple, so that's fine because it's healthy. Fingers out is a pineapple because it's spiky. It's not so good, but it's easy to see from across the room as well.
Yeah.
So, or you can do it under the table when you're sitting next to each other, or on top of the table. You just bring out your fingers.
Smart. Look at you guys.
So anybody that dates us in the future, please ignore that.
We're changing the code shortly.
Yeah, it's going to be Morse code from now on.
In blinks. Do you have something in your eye?
Yes, it's a stick. It's a branch. I can't get
That
it
log
out.
had a child.
Is she blinking my Sharona too?
Oh dear.
The only advice I would give coming out of the last 12 months would be things are never as good or as bad as you think they are. That if you think everything is going really well, it's probably a good sign that you should just stop and
Take a really
confirm
good look.
that it's all going really well.
awesome.
Because
sad.
yeah, but it's you
real.
think you think that it is all going swimmingly and everything's great, but that could be because you're swept up in your own little world of everything's wonderful
Everything
and happy.
is awesome.
And things are never ever as bad because it's very easy to get caught in a downward spiral or an upward spiral. And as a result, you can start to paint your future incorrectly. And so just take that moment, step back, and for God's sakes, communicate. There does come a point where you've just got to own your own shit and get on with it. But sometimes you just have to at least put it out there to say, this is my issue. And then if your partner says, yeah, just that's your problem, not my problem. At least you have put it out there and you've had it acknowledged, and you can't say that, well, I never said that. So,
Yeah.
and if your partner is right for you and good for you, and if it is an issue that you both need to work on, you've put it out there at the very least, and they may consider it, and they may come back to you at another time because they may say, that's not my problem, that's your problem. But it could just sit there for a while in their head and go, well, hang on, can I do anything to contribute to fixing this, righting this, helping this person?
Yeah, and I know we've come across things where one of us will say something thinking that it's our personal problem, and once we voice it to the other, both of us are like, "That's exactly what I thought." You know, the other person agrees completely, and
yeah.
they're like, "I had the exact same problem or concern." And I always think back to in university, someone, you know, there's no bad questions, because if you ask a question, it's likely that it's in somebody else's head. They're just not brave enough to ask it. And I think it's similar in relationships. You might have a question or a comment or something in your head, and you think that you're the only person that feels that way. When in fact, especially when you're looking at groups, 4 or more people, you know, you're likely you're not the only one that's got that question or whatever floating around in your skull. Or idea floating around in your head, yeah.
And it may be too that if it's an issue or something that you're trying to work through, or something that you see in yourself and you're like, this is how I feel, this is what I think of this situation, your partner may or may not think or feel the same way, but at the same time they may be like, yeah, I can tell that that's how you feel, but you know, we're not communicating about it, you're not saying it, I'm not acknowledging it. And just getting it out there and acknowledging that, yes, I know that's how you feel and that's how you see the situation, whether I agree with it or not.
Yeah.
It's just having it out there really
Being
helps.
aware of
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And knowing that you're both aware of it.
So do you think that you guys have, when it comes to things like jealousy, have you just learned to deal with jealousy? Are you past jealousy? Or how does jealousy still float around in your relationship?
I don't think you can ever be past jealousy, because there's always going to be things that pop up that you're just like, oh. But you know how to deal with it a little bit better. Like you can take a step back a little bit easier and go, why am I feeling jealous? What exactly is it that's making me jealous? And then you can tell your partner, hey, I'm feeling jealous. I need this from you. And I'm not talking demands. I'm talking more like, I need you to understand and realize that I'm feeling jealous, and that I'll use me as an example, and that my reaction is not because of you, it's because of me. It's my problem, but I need you to know that this is why I'm acting a little bit aloof, for example.
So don't misread the signals of why.
This isn't about you at all.
Yeah.
I'm feeling jealous. I'm doing my best to deal with it, but I'm displaying that I'm jealous in a way, but don't misread this as something else and allow this to escalate into something that it shouldn't be. Because I do think that was part of the issue for us, is that there was a big period of misreading signals from each other, and some sort of under the table tit for tat kind of things happening that, well, if that's how you're going to behave, well, I'm going to go and do such and such.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to be like that, I really don't want to be around you, so I'm going to prefer to be somewhere else, without stopping and questioning what was going on.
Or calling each other out on it as well.
Yeah, in the right way.
Yeah, not just, what the fuck are you doing?
Stop
Although
being
sometimes that
a
is
cunt.
cool.
Can I repeat the line that you used on me?
Which one?
We can cut it out later if the answer is no.
The one that go for it. This one is a perler. It's such a hurtful statement, and I kind of realised it but didn't at the time.
There was one God Almighty argument one day where, even though I had said I'm going out, I'm going to be away for the evening, and I will be back the next day, and I let be known where I was going to be and all those kinds of things, I've come home. The lady had wanted to do something else, hadn't really told me that she wanted to do it, and then exploded. And the line of, and at the first whiff of vagina, you're off and your brain is gone. And it was a god awful moment in that wonderful period of just, well, it wasn't wonderful.
It was harsh.
It was harsh, and that was probably one of the lowest of the low watermarks in that whole period.
Yeah, I'm a bitch. What can I say?
But looking back on it, it was the result of lots of misread communication, misread feeling, allowing things to get pent up, allowing things not to be dealt with on both sides.
I would actually say no communication, because realistically, what we were saying was different from what we both were feeling.
I mean, the other thing, about jealousy, to your question, and the lady's right. jealousy is always going to be there. The more you confront it, the more you get to know the nature of it. The more you accept it exists. If you deny that it exists and you pretend that, well, I just don't get jealous.
It's going to be Slimer turn up and
Yeah.
slap you in the face,
Yeah,
essentially.
it is always going to be there, and it will be there in its own unique way for you, and you have to understand what jealousy is for you, and that just means confronting it. Yeah, and going, why do I feel like this? Oh, it could be because I'm feeling jealous. Why am I feeling jealous? And actually work through it. Stop trying to be
Fucking hero.
stop trying to be a fucking hero, because you only end up falling on your ass in the end.
And realise that it's okay to feel jealous. It's just what you do with it that
Yeah.
can be not okay.
It's interesting because when you're all talking about this, the analogy that's popping into my head is domestication. So you're domesticating jealousy.
Yeah.
It's a wild creature that it sort of runs wild if you let it. But what you're trying to do is sort of, you don't kick it out, but you domesticate it and learn to live with it in a peaceful, more understanding sort of way.
You know, you go down to the beach and, you know, walk out into the waves, and the first few times you do it, you get knocked over every time the waves come in. But after a while, you learn what's coming, what's happening, how to look with it, how to roll with it, how to deal with it as it hits you, and then how as it pulls back the other way. So that after a while, you can go and stand out in the waves, and it's okay. Whereas if you don't keep going out there and doing it, it will always just be the thing that knocks you on your ass.
Yeah.
Wow, great analogy. Perhaps you should have a podcast.
Fuck, that was deep, hey? I should drink more in the mornings.
I say that every day.
Yeah.
So I have an all-important question. Since you tore down your old relationship, rebuilt everything to where you are now, has this affected your sex life?
Your personal, between the two of you. Not between.
Yes.
Yes, I'm getting laid more often.
Yeah, no, between the two of you, has it affected your sex life?
Absolutely.
For the positive or the negative?
Depends on the week.
Because we all want the dirty
Wow.
details.
Yeah.
You want the dirty details, or you don't want the dirty
Yeah.
We
details?
do. Brown chicken, brown cow.
I think we're a little bit more experimental.
I thought you were going to say expendable. I think we're a little bit more
I
expendable.
thought you were just going to say expensive.
Well, that too. No, we
I
try
have to
things
buy
a
the
little
big
bit.
Happy Meals, like the really good, the fancy McDonald's burgers now, not just the McChickens when we go out for a fancy dinner.
You have to put a special toy in it, like from Max
Yeah.
Black.
Yeah,
Oh, wouldn't that be amazing?
I know, right? That would be a truly happy meal.
that's a really, really happy meal.
Oh,
Back on topic.
sorry.
I don't remember what the topic was.
What's our
how's your
sex
sex
life been
life?
like?
You're experimental.
A little bit more experimental. We spend more time probably doing things with others than each other. But anything is better than nothing at all.
Wow.
So do you talk about what you do with other people with each other, or is what you do with someone else your thing?
If it's something new and interesting, I want to know because I do and I'm nosy. Ginger? I don't really tell you that much because I'm trying to spare your feelings, but if you asked, I'd tell you whatever you wanted to know.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think he wants to really know that much.
No, look, and I think that's come from to say that everything is rebuilt completely
That's
would
bullshit.
Yeah.
be bullshit.
Well, of course. I mean, yeah. You can't erase, 15 years
The
worth
apocalypse.
Yeah.
of relationship. That you
Yeah.
cannot erase that. But
To as a general sort of thing, I really don't want to know what the lady does with others.
Unless he's in the room.
unless you're in the room.
Unless
then he
I'm in the
wants
room.
to watch with popcorn.
But the lady on her own with
Right.
someone else, I don't really want to know about because for whatever reason that
That feeds your
That's
jealousy.
private.
that feeds the jealousy.
Okay.
You know, and or it, I'll be acknowledging it but not acknowledging it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Good. Yeah. Cool story. Yeah. Great. I don't want to hear this. Yeah. Really, I don't want to know.
Okay.
It has. Yeah. Look, I would say it has certainly affected our sex life. It had certainly been on a decline. We'd opened up the relationship. It had certainly in the early days provided a greater spark, but then jealousy very much destroyed that. And there was just an extended period there where there was no physical intimacy between us because we started to live separate lives. I mean, we were certainly starting to
Go down the
look.
hole.
We're looking at cutting ties
Yeah.
and going completely separate ways. And when that's happening, there was never any intimacy of any kind, let alone anything that resembled physical affection or sex. How much do you want to know?
Well, how much you want to tell? I guess the question then is, like, right now, are you happy with the physical relationship that you two have had as a development from opening up a relationship? Do you want it to be more?
Of course.
Wait, okay, so do you want it to be more?
Yeah, I
Then
do.
why not do it? This seems like a no-brainer. Like, I mean, I get it. I do get the whole, it's been 15 years of push and pull, and there's been a lot more push recently than there's been pull. But if I want more from the buffet and the buffet is open, well then, by God, I'm going to lay on the buffet and go under the sneeze guard and roll around in the food there.
And the other question I would have is your sex life pre-opening up the relationship and your sex life now. How would those compare? And are you happier with where it is now than where it was pre-opening up?
I think I'm happier with where it is now because pre-opening it up, we never saw each other. And when we did, we were both too tired. It was basically come home, wash your clothes, repack them, and one of us left.
So do you
So-
set dates now? Do you have dates with each other and arrange per se meetups or this is our time together? Do you do that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And we make them special, but also every day as well. So plan something really amazing, but also just go down to the bar, have a few drinks,
Yeah.
hang out.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
always
It doesn't
have to be a production.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And that's right. There's something we do a lot more of now than we did in the past. That we do just spend better
Time together.
time together as a couple, and that was something that we never did well before.
And you just mean general time, not
Yeah.
necessarily sexy
Yeah.
time. Just
Yeah.
like
Just like going on
Intimate
dates.
time.
But
Yeah,
that builds that intimacy, though.
that's correct. And
Intimacy is not always about sex.
no.
yeah, I
In
mean,
fact, yeah.
yeah. I mean, given the level of destruction that we waged upon our relationship,
We
during the
almost
course of,
salted the earth.
yeah, it has been a rebuilding process. I would say that having been with other people and the time we spend with other people has made us better partners for each other anyway.
Absolutely.
Because we have been out and experienced and seen that certain things are, it's okay, and it's okay to do. There's just different ways to go about
Yeah.
expressing physical intimacy.
And you do learn from your partners as well. It's not just necessarily limited to intimacy or a particular sex position. It's also how you communicate with other partners. Oh, I actually like this. I'm going to try and bring this to our relationship because I really like this. So, and it works. But we are still building. And we will probably continue to build to the day we die.
Which I
For sure,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I always think of
We might even renovate.
well, yeah, and the best relationships I think often look like is it Winchester House? Do you know?
That's always having the rooms added on?
Yeah, the Winchester House is in San Jose, California.
Mm-hmm.
It's this giant house that the lady just kept building until the day she died, adding on rooms and stuff. It's like 150 something rooms,
Jesus.
and there are doorways that go nowhere and stairways that go into ceilings with no openings. But I think relationships often look like that because they may not have a logical. They're still a home. They're still a house, but there's not necessarily a logical flow to them. And some paths lead nowhere, and some paths lead to.
But at least you've been there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You know that path is a dead end, and that's just okay. Well, let's
Don't go
learn
back
from
there,
it. And,
yeah.
Let's learn from it and move on. Cool. Yeah. So, do you have any other questions for them?
No.
Do you guys have any
Did we
questions?
answer that question?
Pretty well. Yeah. It's
In a roundabout way.
in a roundabout way. It's one of those things. It's like you said earlier, there's really no right or wrong answer. There's
No.
there
What
just
it
is
is.
the truth, and that's the truth is sometimes ugly. It's sometimes bitter.
Weird.
It's often weird. But what's positive about it is it's the truth, and that's you don't have to.
You don't have to hide from it.
If anyone's listening to this and they are going through a bit of a shit patch, just know that you're not the only one going through a shit patch.
Yeah.
That we've been there. I mean, message us if you want to just reach out and say, hey, we just want to know whether or not alone. Is it true? And you aren't alone. Others have been there. It is okay. It's okay to talk to people about it.
Yeah.
Don't
And
hide it.
Yeah.
Don't hide it from the world.
And that's sometimes difficult because I know a lot of us keep our special lives, I'll call them,
Yeah.
quiet from our everyday friends because quite honestly, a lot of them wouldn't understand or...
We assume they wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, many of us suffer through this. I remember, when I was coming out sexually, it was one of those things that I didn't tell anybody because I knew that I was the only person who had ever felt this way.
Yeah.
And we tend to do that. We assume that no one else understands our problems and no one else has ever experienced this. And in fact, it's, many of us go through the same sort of trials and tribulations.
Yeah. Well, both of us have told a couple of our close friends about what we do, and some of them understood, others didn't, but they're just like, are you happy? And we're just like, well, it's working. And they're like, fuck, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
How
they'll
does
come
it
back with
affect me?
questions.
Yeah,
And they're
exactly.
like, but how does that work exactly? And this usually comes about a week later after they thought about it. How exactly does that work?
Like, wait a minute. Awesome. Let's wrap this one up. We have a question. And
We
this
have a
is
question. This is a fun question.
Oh,
yes. Oh, are we doing that one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you have
that's-
another one?
I was going to ask a different question, but
Okay.
that's a good
we
question.
can save this one. Go for yours.
Okay. So I was going to say, in a perfect week, how many times would you have sex? Not necessarily with each other, but and not masturbation. So,
Oh, god damn it.
So
we can-
physical intimacy
okay.
with another person.
first, okay, let's do both. Physical intimacy with another person and masturbation at the same time, but in the same week, not at the same time. Let me restart this question. In a perfect week, how many times would you, A, have sex with another person, and B, masturbate?
So not your original question is how many times a week would I wank into someone?
Which
Have
is
physical
awesome.
intimacy and masturbate at the same time.
Mutual masturbation.
That's physical intimacy. Mutual masturbation falls into physical intimacy with another person.
You can go first.
No, you can go first.
Well, let's not all fight each other for it.
Sex 2 or 3 times a week. Any more than that and is a little bit too much because I need me time as well.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Masturbation 7, 14. Depends on the week.
So you'd rather masturbate more than have sex with other people more? Because
Yeah,
it's like
'cause it
mama
could be-
knows how mama wants to be touched.
Exactly, and I can get it over and done with in 5 minutes and I can feel fantastic for the
So-
rest of the day.
As a side question, how do you feel about mutual masturbation? You and someone else masturbating together.
Am I masturbating them or are they masturbating
You're doing
me?
you, they're doing them, but you're in the same room.
That's fucking hot.
Question answered.
Question answered. GT?
You go fast.
I was actually thinking gin and tonic.
Yeah.
Under a black light, he looks like milk. Which, look at him.
Aw, honey, you're milk and honey. With a little bit of spice.
Probably 4 or 5 times a week. Masturbation, I don't know.
Was that sex or masturbation?
That was sex.
That was sex.
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends on how good Reddit is that week. What it's offering up.
You should spend some more time on Twitter. Holy shit.
Oh man, Twitter's amazeballs.
But no, let's not get into that. Masturbation, I don't know. I mean, it's just sort of whatever, sort of to the ladies' point, whatever takes your fancy and when you're sort of feeling in
In the mood.
the mood, in
Yeah.
the need, and the whatever.
Have you ever masturbated at work?
No.
Have you?
I work from home, so fuck yes.
Okay, when you didn't work from home.
You wouldn't have. You were too much of a prude back then.
Says you.
So that sounds. But the fact that you can't remember it means it's a
Yeah.
no. I used to do it every week, sometimes daily, in the bathroom stalls when I was working at the hospital.
So what's your ideal?
Sex is at, I would say, somewhere between 7 and 12 times a week.
Holy shit.
And add on masturbation of probably another 10 to 14. So yeah, that would be my goal. I would say 10 times a week for sex would be my ideal.
Yeah.
How about you?
I would agree. I was going to say 7 to 14 for sex, once to twice a day, but not every day.
Yeah.
And about as much for masturbation. Yeah.
And these are individual sessions, just not multiple sessions in one session?
Right.
Sometimes we do multiple sessions in one session. I don't know.
Are you saying multiple sessions or multiple orgasms?
If it's orgasm, she's in that 150 to 200.
No, I'm like thinking about, okay, have sex, have a little sleep, wake up, have another sleep.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Those are individual sessions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was possibly more then. I was thinking per, like, day.
Yeah, oh, okay. I see what
Yeah.
you mean. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the birds today.
I
All the
know.
birds have had. So you've heard the Australian crow. You've heard that's a crown dove. I mean, so yeah. It's,
If they're coming through the microphone
yeah,
anyway.
I'm sure they are.
They probably are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so cool. If people wish to reach out to you, like you so graciously offered, how are they going to do that on I'm assuming you mean
I'm assuming
on Twitterverse?
Twitter.
Yeah.
I know you are at Lolo Lady.
L0L0 lady.
Yes.
Correct.
That was confusing for me the first 20,000 times.
I try to make it difficult.
Well, now you just come up automatically.
Lolo
Yeah.
Lady, you always make things hard.
I know.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
And you can find me on Twitter at the ginger_tramp.
Ginger tramp.
And check out the picture. It's really hot.
I love it. It's hilarious. It's red wine, which makes me, I don't know,
Happy.
Moist.
It's red wine and a 3-day growth for all the Australian listeners.
Oh, nice.
Even I know what that means. And you can find us at By the By Podcast on the Twitterverse. You can also find us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/bythebypodcast, or on our website, www.bytheby.com.au. Is there other way? Oh, email us at theatomsoflove@gmail.com. Mrs. Adam here is looking up the picture.
I had to remember what the picture was because I've seen the picture, but I didn't remember what it
Look
was.
at those abs.
I know. So,
Look at that body. Oh, you work out. We've got another pendulum party coming up.
Yes, May 19th.
May 19th.
Woo.
We need to convince these two to come down.
I
That'd
know.
be awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
Come out, say hi, play a little. It's going to be a
Or
good
a
night.
lot.
or
Yeah.
That's right. And
We'll put a link up for tickets on our Twitter feed, on
Yep.
Facebook. It's
Yep.
on our Secret Spots website.
yep. And the four of us will be at the first week of Passion in Paradise.
Yes.
In October. So that's going to be
It's going to be a hot week.
bloody awesome. It's going to be. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
7 to 14, 4 to 5, 3 to 4 times a day thing, or a week, is going to just transmute into a 3 to 4 times a day thing.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
If I'm,
I'm
not
going to
walking,
need some ice.
if I'm not walking with a limp at the end of the week, it's going to be a failed week.
Yeah.
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 It's just going to be powder coming out in the end. It's not even going to be liquid.
You got to stay hydrated. Spider-Man. I'm going to be Spider-Man all over the room.
You would want to have a blue light after one of those evenings.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Bad disturbing. How did it get on the ceiling? Don't ask.
Why is this town phosphorescing?
All right, so we're going to wrap this up, and thanks for listening. We'll talk to y'all next time.